Good morning, everyone. We're going to start with our gathering song, Oh, I Woke Up This Morning. Oh, I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. I was walking and talking with my mind stayed on freedom. Walking and talking with my mind stayed on freedom. Walking and talking with my mind stayed on freedom. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. I was singing and praying with my mind stayed on freedom. Singing and praying with my mind stayed on freedom. Singing and praying with my mind stayed on freedom. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Oh, I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Good morning. Good morning. My name is Deborah Casey. I'm a member of the Sunday Services Committee, and I would like to welcome you to this service of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Danbury on a gorgeous Father's Day. We're so glad that each of you are here with us this morning to form this sacred time together. Whether you are a seasoned participant with us or you're joining us for the first time, we really want to welcome you. For those of you that might be new to us, we invite you to introduce yourself and where you're connecting from in the chat as you are comfortable. We also would like to invite everyone to stay after the service and participate in a breakout room for deeper individual connection with each other. Whatever the faith and traditions of your past, whatever your theological stance, whatever your heritage, whoever you are and whomever you love, we welcome you. You can learn more about us on our website and also our Facebook page, and we'd like to encourage you to share those, particularly with people who might be isolated at this time. We have one important announcement this morning. Our Unitarian Universalist National Conference is coming up June 23rd to June 27th. This is going to be virtual, so you can enjoy it from the comfort of your home. It's a great opportunity to connect with UUs all over the country. It can be inspiring and innovating. There's information in the order of service and also in the chat. So take a look at that. Again, we'd like to welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Danbury, where we welcome all in the spirit of compassion, inquiry, and service. And now I would like to invite you to gather your candle or your chalice, take a moment to light it, and then to join me in the candle chalice lighting confirmation. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and justice is its light. This is our covenant. to dwell together in peace, to seek and speak the truth in love, to help one another, and to celebrate life.
Thank you, Deb, and good morning, all. It is so good to be with you on this full morning. I know that people are pulled in a gazillion different directions right now, so I find it especially meaningful to see and reconnect with your faces and thoughts these Sunday mornings. As I reflected about family for today's service, I thought about how much the community of Unitarian Universalist colleagues that I am so blessed to be a part of can at times really feel like family for me and for my little personal nuclear family here at home. It is at UU Ministers Association gatherings that both our children have been dedicated, and that family of beloveds and mentors has pledged their support to us no matter where we might move to through our lives in this faith community. So it is particularly apropos today that I reached out to see if any of my good colleagues might have a reading that somehow captured at least some of all that this particular day holds. And a colleague I have yet to meet in person, Reverend Christine Dance in Phoenix, Arizona, wrote this opening prayer for today, inviting all of us to use it as we wished. She wrote, "Spirit of life, spirit of love, lover of inclusion and justice and peace. We know that holidays and anniversaries are just another day. We wake up, we be the best person we can be, we go to sleep. And yet they have a special poignancy for many of us. Let us acknowledge that for some there is great joy in these days, and for some there is pain, ambivalence, disappointment, or conflict. Today is Father's Day. We give thanks for the amazing fathers who are among us in our congregation and in our lives, for the fathers who have provided a loving presence and guiding advice. We mourn with those who have lost their fathers or had fathers who did not live up to that ideal standard. We recognize that Father's Day lives solidly on a binary, which is not relevant for some, and yet we rejoice in their courageous parenthood nonetheless. We send special love to fathers who have lost a child and those who have been father figures, whether or not they actually had children they called their own. And we pray for all the children in the world to be surrounded by family that love them and tell them that they are cherished children of the universe. Yesterday was Juneteenth. We celebrate the emancipation of enslaved people while we mourn the history that created it. We celebrate that it is now a new federal holiday, unanimously passed in the Senate, while some of those same senators spout racist rhetoric that is grounded in their faith. We celebrate the pride and culture and identity of our Black siblings while we mourn the oppression that still exists. We hold all these complexities, knowing that digging into them makes all of us more whole. Today is also the summer solstice. We celebrate the height of the sun while also worrying about those who are affected by extreme heat and drought across the country. We recognize this longest day of the year and the feminine power that is evoked, while also being concerned about Mother Earth and the wildfires and extreme temperatures due to climate change. We celebrate our individual power on the solstice while hoping we can use our human power to make changes together before it is too late. And we celebrate the month of Pride, the beauty of expressing ourselves, including our sexual orientation and our gender identity in whatever ways feel authentic, while also recognizing that the Southern Baptist denomination this week confirmed the biblical sanctity of antiquated gender roles and definition of marriage. We celebrate with those who are marching and celebrating while mourning how capitalism now takes full advantage of pride. And we celebrate all of the rainbow while also recognizing that our trans and non binary siblings are facing ever increasing legislation that denies their humanity. Oh God, of the complexities, let us hold all of this in tension. Let us celebrate and let us mourn. Let us recognize that no one thing is all good or all bad. Let us learn to live in the space in between where we can be more human, more compassionate, and more authentic. In the name of fathers, the SUN, Juneteenth, and Pride, we say, Amen, blessed be, and Ashe. Let us co-create this sacred time through our presence together. Join me now in the Unison Children's Affirmation. Everyone, please hold up your U's with me. We are Unitarian Universalists. We are people with open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands. We care for the earth and for each other. I'm excited to share a children's book with you on this. This is my second to last Sunday with you all, so I'm just reflective about some of the things I've particularly enjoyed getting to share with you, especially during this pandemic mode we've been in for over a year. Illustrator Brian Collier writes about this book. As our main character is faced with navigating today's challenges of identity, self-worth, survival, and the ability to thrive, he is surrounded by a community of family. Sometimes family is who feels moved to care for us, to create a space for us, to share with us wisdom about the world and how to navigate it. We do this for one another so beyond the scope of biological relationship that it calls us all to reconsider how we might casually use the word family and to wonder what and who we really mean and really rely upon. This is All Because You Matter by Tammy Charles and Brian Collier. They say that matter is all things that make up the universe: energy, stars, space. If that's the case, then you, dear child, matter. Long before you took your place in this world, you were dreamed of, like a knapsack full of wishes, carried on the backs of your ancestors as they created empires, pyramids, legacies. Building, inventing, working beneath red-hot suns and cold blue moons, thinking of you years ahead, because to them, you always mattered. On the night you were born, stars sprayed across the sky, each one full of light, hope, love, and all the moments in your life that would matter. Like your first steps, bare feet planted on cold floor, hobbling, wobbling, toppling, only to stand and try again. Or your first words, spoken almost like a lullaby, notes climbing a ladder to the sky, Mama, Papa, Mahal Kita. Or the first time you opened a book like a mirror staring back at you and really saw yourself. Same hair, same skin, same dreams. The words and pictures coming together like sweet jam on toast, musica blasting through barrios, sun in blue sky, all because you matter. But in galaxies far away, it may seem that light does not always reach lonely planets, covered moons, stars unseen, as if matter no longer exists. And just like moons hidden in the dark, there will be times when you too will question your place in the universe. like the time you'll hear the teacher call your name, Hossam, Uza Amaka, Yordanis, and the whispers and giggles begin, followed by, what kind of name is that? Or the time you'll see a letter, big, bold, red on the page, and you will question if you and your work and your effort matter. Or the time when your pop-pop turns on the news and you see people everywhere take a breath, take a stand, take a knee. And you hear pop-pop's whispered prayers as another name is called. Trayvon, Tamir, Philando. And you wonder if they or you will ever matter. But did you know that you do? Did you know that you were born from queens, chiefs, legends? Did you know that you are the earth, that strength, power, and beauty lie within you? Did you know that you are sun rays, calm like ocean waves, tough like Montanas, magic like stars in space? And on the day the universe was created, you were thought of, dreamed of, carried like a knapsack full of wishes as planets, stars, moons took their places, making room for you, your people, their dreams, your future. All because since the beginning of time, you mattered, they mattered, we matter, and always will. Let us join now in a time of sharing about our lives with this community here. What do you feel moved to share about that is weighing on or lifting up your heart today?
We come to the time for our congregational offering. If you're with us for the first time, feel free to pass the virtual plate. Your presence here in the Zoom room is your gift to us. Members, please click the link in the chat to make a donation or pledge. For even though we are not in our beloved fellowship hall, our operating expenses are still the same. You may also mail a check to UUCD at 24 Clappard Ridge Road in Danbury. Thank you for doing your part to support and sustain this community we love. Now please join me in our congregational response. In the spirit of compassion and service, we dedicate these, our offerings.
Thank you, Jerry, so much for all the thoughtfully chosen music today. So here's my reverie meditations on forever redefining family. The state of Oregon is usually associated with rain, the mossy dampness of the Pacific Northwest. But about half of the state, the eastern half, is desert. As most of you know, I served for 6 years in Central Oregon in the high desert, where there are snow-capped mountains in the near distance all year round. Bend was the city to people who had grown up in rural Oregon, but to anyone else, it was a lovely big town, and the real city was Portland. How long it takes to get from Bend to Portland or vice versa depends on your mode of travel. Going by car is one of the faster options. But my stepfather and I made our way from Portland to Bend 25 years ago now, and it took us 3 full days, starting at daybreak and winding down at twilight. We were on our bicycles with 1 tent, 1 stove, and a whole lot of couscous. We rode between 70 and 80 miles a day, starting in the little town of Rhododendron on Mount Hood and making our way to Canida and then Madras. The reason I tell you about this adventure today is because it was one infused with not just sweat, cliff bars, and the rare memorable spots of savored shade, but also enormous trust. When I went back to Portland from my first trip to Bend as an adult some years later, I recounted some of these memorable places to my stepfather. I said to him, I can't believe how much I trusted you. I think I was 20 or 21 when we did this ride. I mean, we ran out of water. We had to change our route along the way. We were being followed by forest fires. There was no one supporting us, and I almost got blown over by a 3-rig semi-truck. Said my stepfather, it all worked out, didn't it? I would end up driving from Portland to Bend and back 100 times during the 6 years that I lived and worked in Central Oregon. And I would think not just about the landmarks along the way, but the landmark that that trip was for the two of us. My mother and stepfather married when I was 10 years old. I was completely skeptical of him at first, defiant and also entirely doubtful that he could possibly love me and that he would really stick around. It took years of him paying close attention, being firm in the boundaries and expectations that he set for me, and regularly making time to sit and talk with me at the dinner table. Years of accumulated evenings at home for us to develop a relationship I grew to cherish. This man, who I have no biological connection with, came into my life at a time when I was already a quite well developed, opinionated personality, and he had more impact on me than almost anyone else in my family, simply by his continual determined efforts, his careful listening, his asking questions, his getting to know me. When I worked as an on-call chaplain at the Catholic hospital in Bend for the 6 years I was there, I was often asked, is there family involved when discussing a patient's situation? But I learned quickly that the answer to that question ranges widely and is different in almost every case. Partners, significant others, spouses, former spouses, friends, caregivers, children, stepchildren, half children, neighbors, guardians, nieces and nephews, coworkers. Each person likely had a different constellation of people close to them. And at most hospitals I've worked at, as long as the patient can define someone as family, that's just about all that we on their care team concerned ourselves with. Our hope is that someone is there, that the patient isn't going through an experience of illness and sometimes dying alone. That is my hope for our congregants and the members of our wider communities, too. I worry about the individualism of Unitarian Universalists that can, at one extreme, cause us to have a sense that we don't need one another. We have a reputation for being the denomination where someone can go and think whatever I want. Oh, people have said to me countless times, the Unitarian Church, that's where I would go if I went to church. In our legacy of supporting the individual search, the individual spiritual quest, we tend to minimize the individual's responsibility to the community. Even more than responsibility, we can sometimes act as if an individual is not reliant on a community or part of the fabric of the whole. There is nothing like being a patient in the hospital, and this past year and a half has certainly brought this even into more sharp relief for all of us. To lift up the ways in which we are each more interdependent, more a part of a community than we are separate and autonomous. Study after study has shown that people who have community support while they're in the hospital and as we age live longer, healthier, happier lives. We thrive together through our connections with one another. Some of the most significant characteristics of family to me are that a family is not a group of people who are all alike, right? A family is not a group of people who are all the same age and like to do the same things on a Friday night. A family is not a group of people who share all the same political beliefs. And yet, when push comes to shove, when someone is in need, the first people turn to are often described as family. I sometimes see Unitarian Universalist congregations focusing a lot of energy on trying to match people of similar interests, ages, and concerns as a way of building community, and that can be important and worthwhile to do. Many of us come to church in the first place hoping to make friends and find people like us to hang out with and get to know. But I am sure that the real unspoken strength, the heart of our congregations, is that we are not a group of people who are all alike. We are an intergenerational, diverse group of people who have arrived here on this day to this ethereal, online, but still very real space from all over the country and the world, with all different stories and experiences, beliefs, and passions. By celebrating this abundance among us, we can learn and grow through our relationships with each other. And by accepting each other as we are and being present in every way that we can be in each other's lives, we move from being acquaintances who connect with each other for an hour or two a week to becoming meaningful, reliable, ongoing parts of each other's lives. We begin to become more like family, more like people who are there for each other through the turbulence of life. This whole issue of who is family has been newly up for me as we prepare for our move to Southern Delaware. To enroll our younger child in daycare, we have to list and provide photo IDs for 2 emergency contacts in a place where we have no immediate biological family. And we are sorting that out. It will be fine. We are lucky in that there is already a congregation who has welcomed us with open arms and a neighborhood we are excited to become a part of. And the vibe of a GLBTQ community throughout the area, which has used the phrase he, she, they are family in a wink, wink, you know what I mean way for decades, if not more. We have formed family, especially when we needed it because of the rejection of straight, heteronormative, homophobic culture. The person I'm particularly feeling grateful for on this Father's Day, though, surprised me a little bit when I thought about it. For various reasons, I wasn't as a child able to observe my mother interact with her in-laws. I didn't witness a relationship there that became familiar to me or that as an adult I felt drawn to replicate. The in-law form of family is one that I'm still living into day by day, week by week. And this year, I've been feeling so deeply grateful for my father-in-law, Mike. It has been Mike, AKA Grandpa, in our home, who over our past 7 years here in Connecticut has been the person I called when I couldn't get the oven door open. Turns out I needed to just let the oven fully cool. The heat didn't seem to be working, was a weird electrical issue. The car wouldn't start and we needed to get the kids to a very special activity. So Grandma and Grandpa brought over their second car for us. And most recently, Mike was the one person in my whole family of origin or extended family who gently but clearly said to me, masked in the driveway when we were over there one afternoon, well, we really hope you'll choose Lewis. I honestly don't know why that has meant so much to me, but I tried to probe it and understand for this reflection today. And I think it's because of his quiet but persistent attention, that determination and commitment to stay connected, no matter what twists and turns our lives and careers take us on. My parents-in-law have shown up and will show up as long as they are able in a way that I don't take for granted at all, and is a huge part of why I was willing to consider relocating to the East Coast over 8 years ago now, even though all my family of origin is on the West Coast. I know that my in-laws will do everything they can to support our move to Delaware, even though it means moving away from them with their beloved granddaughters in tow. So for me, as hallmarky as Father's Day and such holidays can be, it is another opportunity to pause and take stock of my life and my relationships and really observe which ones are sustaining me and my family and which ones we need to appreciate more or nourish more or address more directly in our children's lives. Our two kids know that they don't have a dad, but they still want me to read the books with a mom and a dad in them as they are written. It drives my 8-year-old bonkers when I try to change what's written on the page. They don't seem the least bit bothered by heteronormativity. They know that they have two loving and committed parents, several doting grandparents, at least 4 uncles with whom they are close, and then more family that they know as auntie and uncle among our longtime friends who they can call upon when they are in DC or the Bay Area or anywhere where we have supportive and beloved community. Even at their young age, they're 4 and 8 now, they totally understand that family and the ways that we all can choose to show up for one another transcends biological relationship. I am so grateful to be able to support them and continuing to broaden the definition of that word for decades to come. May we all keep feeling our whole lives like we can keep broadening and extending and reconsidering our notion of family. May we keep strengthening the bonds of love that are truly what nourish us all. May it be so. Join me now in a spirit of meditation and prayer. Begin, if you can, from a place of trust. Trust that you are held in love, that you are more cared for and cared about than you might tend to think some days. You are loved. Then, with that spirit and in that spirit of confidence, reflect upon this past year. How have you gotten through to this shimmering summer solstice day? Who or what has sustained you this monumental and trying year? The long 2020-2021 winter. As we turn the page today and officially move into summertime, what relationships do you want to appreciate more or nourish more in your own lives and your circles? Take a moment of silence to sit with these wonderings. And then join me in singing with Jerry, Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the head, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit alive, come to me, come to me.
We will now extinguish our chalices as we say together our words of affirmation. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world until we are together again.
Music from African American traditions has infused our service today. I encourage you all to take a look at the National Museum of African American History and Culture's deep website and focus this weekend on Juneteenth as a time to gather as a family, to reflect on the past and look to the future. And there is the link for their website. You can still register for events even if they've passed and then be sent the recording. There are so many ways to celebrate African American cultural traditions in our larger communities this weekend and throughout the year, and another of them is by singing. Join me in Singing with Jerry. I'm on my way.
To that point, just as an FYI for all of you at home, you can choose to either sing the lead with me or you can do the response, which is just an echo. So if you want to do that and have a little bit of fun in your home this morning, when I sing, I'm on my way, you sing, I'm on my way. So you can pick whether you're singing with me or you're repeating everything I do and it'll all work out. Here we go. I'm on my way to the freedom land. I'm on my way to the freedom land. I'm on my way to the freedom land. I'm on my way, great God, I'm on my way. I asked my sister, come and go with me. I asked my sister, come and go with me. I asked my sister, come and go with me. I'm on my way, great God, I'm on my way. I asked my brother, come and go with me. I asked my brother, come and go with me. I asked my brother, come and go with me. I'm on my way, great God, I'm on my way. If they say no, I'll go anyhow. If they say no, I'll go anyhow. If they say no, I'll go anyhow. I'm on my way, great God, I'm on my way. I'm on my way to the freedom land. I'm on my way and I won't turn back. I'm on my way and I won't turn back. I'm on my way, great God, I'm on my way.
Oh, y'all, I hope this has been a nourishing and restful hour for you in the midst of all the things going on in all our lives. I wish I could say we were very purposeful in having a slightly shorter service today on the longest day of the year, to give you even more time to go out and about and enjoy it. But it just came about that way. I've shared some very personal stories with you today, and I hope those inspire you to reflect upon your own stories and relationships and share those with each other. It is the longest day of the year. We're all still emerging from a global pandemic. There is so much our communities offer to us today. I hope you will be able to get off screen and go out there and savor all that the world invites us to celebrate. Following the postlude, please do stay with us for breakout groups if you'd like. And if you're heading off into the rest of whatever this day holds for you, during the postlude is a good time to do that. When you do, close your screen and return to the tactile world around you. Go with love in your heart, your spirit nourished by peace, your actions committed to creating greater justice in our shared world. Have a wonderful summer day.
I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean. Still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now. Never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry seas, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the light of the heavens in our beautiful blue I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, breathe the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harder or port have I known. Wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue.